Welcome to the Call to Harmony, where we explore the inner journey to oneness with self, others, and the divine.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Call to Harmony. So grateful to have Savannah here with me. We're just going to have some conversations about the most important thing we could possibly talk about. How do we find harmony in our lives when there are so many forces pulling us away from harmony? And we'll talk more about what harmony is. Maybe that's what we'll talk about today in this episode.
What is harmony for you? Like, how would you describe it?
So harmony is a state beyond our troubled mind, a state of peace, where we're living from a place of wholeness, from our hearts, and from a connectedness to all things and all beings. And it's maybe better described by experiencing it. I mean, it is. There's no way that words can really capture harmony, at least for me.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll share a few experiences.
Yeah.
One that comes to mind is, so I grew up in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, born and raised Mormon. I was called a Mormon all growing up, and that was my religious background and so much of how I saw the world. And I loved it. I grew up in a very loving family, and it's been an amazing experience growing up in that culture. And I served a mission. I came back from my mission, went to BYU, and this is a harmony experience that happened at BYU while I was in college. Mm-hmm. And it's the strangest place to have a harmony experience. We were playing softball on an intramural softball team.
Harmony is everywhere.
It is potentially everywhere. This is a strange place where I experienced it. I was playing in the infield one game, and the game, if I remember right, was pretty intense. Like the two sides, the competition was fierce. And people were yelling at the umpire about calls and starting to yell back and forth at the other team. And I don't know how to fully describe this or what sparked it, but right in the middle of this intensity, all of a sudden, it's like I almost had an out-of-body experience where instead of being in the middle of the competitive intensity, I was watching it. Mm-hmm. But it's not like I was outside of my body. I was just outside of the intensity of it. Yeah, the competitiveness of the moment. Mm-hmm. And I still saw people yelling back and forth, and I could still feel these energy vibrations coming from the experience, but I was just peacefully watching it. Yeah. And I was like, wait a second. There is more than just a softball game going on right here. Mm-hmm. And I started to watch myself inwardly. I started to watch my emotions, see that there were emotions rising up, trying to take over my attention, my brain. Yeah. There were thoughts coming into my head, maybe accusations against the other team. Oh, they're the worst. Why are they like this? And why are we so much better than them? Or whatever it was, right? But there were these thoughts and emotions rising up. Yeah. But it's almost like I was just seeing them come up, and I had the option of grabbing onto the thought or inhabiting the emotion, like riding maybe that roller coaster that emotion would take me on. But for whatever reason, I was just able to keep watching. Mm. And we kept playing this game. Mm-hmm. And my best friend was on our softball team. His name was Cameron. And we went in between the innings, and I was like, Cameron, have you ever noticed that there are two games going on? Mm-hmm. Like there's this game that we're playing right now, but there's also this game that's going on inside of us that's trying to pull us into the intensity of the game. Yeah. But you actually don't have to
play that one.
Yeah, you don't have to go in, because once you play that other game, let's call it the outward game and the inner game. In the inner game, once you jump into the emotion, there's only one game again. Yeah. You become totally unconscious of the inside because you're just swallowed up by the outside. Yeah. And so I was saying this to my friend Cameron, and he was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I hadn't been thinking about that. And so we started having a super deep conversation in the dugout, right, in between innings. And I tried to tell other people on the team, I was like, have you guys ever noticed? And they're like, whatever. You're an idiot. Like, they're like,
They were playing the one game.
Yeah, totally. And in their defense, we've all been in that game too, and just totally pulled into it. And for whatever reason, I don't even know what spurred it, but that day, that softball game, I just felt this incredible peace. I don't remember who won. I don't remember much of the details of the game, but I remember the game just flowed. And the plays that I was involved with just felt effortless. They just happened under their own power.
Yeah.
And I probably made mistakes and stuff, but the mistakes that I would have beat myself up so bad and blamed myself, I'm so sorry, team, or whatever. I was able to just let it go because there was this inner game going on. And I was so fascinated by the piece of it that I was like, oh, I don't want to lose this piece. So I'm just going to keep watching.
Yeah.
And I was able to do that during the game. And I don't know why it was. Again, softball field doesn't feel like the place for this.
Yeah.
But in subsequent games, because I had been there in my mind, I was able to get back there a few times because I was like, oh, I want to play that inner game again.
Yeah.
But it was kind of elusive to me after that.
Yeah. Do you feel like you could, because it sounds like in that game, it was an unintentional thing that started to happen. Like it wasn't like you were like, I think there's 2 games here and I'm going to play the inner game.
Yeah.
I don't think that those were the thoughts, but you felt like after that experience that you could intentionally get back to that place.
Sometimes. Yeah. First, I had to remember that there was potentially 2 games. And second, I had to like practice some things to remove myself from the second game to give myself at least enough distance from the emotion and thoughts to be able to get back to seeing the first game again.
Yeah.
And that's hard to describe, but I was able to do that a few more times, and other games I wasn't able to.
Yeah.
Either because I didn't remember initially and I was just competitive. Oh, we got to win this game to get to the playoffs or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was a harmony experience that I didn't have a lot of words for. I didn't know how to describe it, but it was one of my experiences where I started to notice, hey, there's a whole different way to be in this world.
Yeah.
There's like 2 games going on, not just in softball, but at any given time in life.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I've been totally swallowed up in the outer game. The game of, if it's in school, oh, I got to get good grades. If it's at work, I've got to do well at this, or I've got to advance, climb the ladder. Or if it's in church, then, oh, I've got to navigate this situation here. And if it's in family, oh, the drama of this. And I use the word drama, but most of it is because my mind is so often caught up in the drama of life that I totally forget that there's 2 games.
Yeah.
And when I do remember, I don't know how to get to the inner one because I'm so caught up in the outer one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's one experience with harmony that honestly, I had some cool experiences close together, but I lost touch with it over the years.
Yeah.
And then other experiences kind of reminded me of it. And then stitching these harmony experiences together, I've started to experience more and more.
Yeah. I want you to share your whatever other experience you have, but I wish people could see your hand motion that I think comes from Hamish. This pull back. He's got his hands stacked on top of each other. And you did it just a second ago saying, oh, if I could get enough space between me and the outer game, like to see what's actually like to become that observer. Do you like now that you're so much further down this road and practicing harmony and having these experiences, do you have specific things, and maybe this will come later in this episode, but like what things pull you away from that outer game? Does that make sense?
Yeah. What creates that space?
That space, yeah.
Yeah. Great point. Yeah. Hamish St. Stephen. I think he's a good friend. He does use that hand motion where you like, if you lay your right hand over the top of your left hand and then intertwine your fingers, that's kind of the way that I've lived most of my life, is caught up in my mind and my emotions. And then when there's space created, it's like the real me at my core, my consciousness. Some would call it spirit or being, but steps back and all of a sudden life shifts. And so the practices to create that space Oh man, we could talk about that. We probably will talk about those in subsequent episodes a lot. But in short, for me, meditation has been huge. Learning to watch my mind rather than be caught up in my mind. And maybe in some other episodes, we'll just drop in a few little practices that you can do to create that space. Is that
great? Yeah, that's great.
Okay, another story that comes to mind. Again, for me, stories help illustrate this, and maybe people that are listening are like, oh yeah, I've experienced that. This story happened probably 10 years ago or something like that. So at the time, I was working as a seminary principal at a little school called Timpanogos High School, big school called Timpanogos High School in Orem, Utah. And seminary principal, for those of you that aren't members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So seminary is a high school religious education class. And so after I went to BYU, I got hired as a seminary and institute teacher, and that's been my career, really fun career. And everything about my life has been church, right? And so that's probably enough background for now. We'll get more into that story later in another episode. But this particular day, I was driving to Timpanogos Seminary, which is in Orem, and living in Provo. And on the way, I drove past the MTC, which stands for the Missionary Training Center, where LDS missionaries go to train for their full-time missions. And as I was driving past, there was a man out in front of the MTC with a big cross over his shoulder that had a bunch of sayings and words written all over the cross. And he was there arguing with the LDS missionaries. He was apparently from another denomination. And as the missionaries would come out from the MTC to cross the street to go to the athletic fields to exercise, he would just get on them, right? And jump on them and argue with them. And as I pulled up to the stoplight there and watched him arguing with these missionaries and yelling things at people, I got so angry. Yeah. I was like, oh my goodness, what is this guy's deal? Can't you see that these are innocent, good young people that are trying to go out and teach people about Jesus? And he just needs to leave them alone. What good does he think he's going to do? Yeah. Light turns green. I drive off toward work, and I'm totally in my head. My mind, I'm like, that guy is the worst. I can't believe he thinks he's following Jesus to do what he's doing. What is going on? And it just rankled me. And I'd drive by the next day and he would be there again. I mean, this guy was devoted. He was there like every day. Yeah, it was day after day after day. And if there was anybody in the world that bugged me most, it was that guy at that time. Well, time went on, and one evening I was teaching an evening class, what's called an institute class, just a few students there. I think there was only 4 there for this particular class, and we were teaching about the parables of Jesus. Mm. And for whatever reason, that night, I think the parables of Jesus did what they're intended to do. And in that class, my mind was just, it was just kind of broken open, and my heart was broken open. And I just remember walking out of that class, getting in my car and starting to drive home and feeling this incredible love flowing through me, pouring out of my heart in every direction. Everywhere I looked, everything was beautiful. Yeah. Every tree I saw was the most beautiful tree I'd ever seen. Every person I saw, pedestrian, I was like, oh, I love that person that I didn't even know. Everything everywhere was beautiful. I even remember driving past a strip mall and seeing neon lights, and I'm like, man, those are so beautiful.
That's a lot of love.
That is a lot of love. I'd never felt that before for neon lights. But, you know, sitting there at the intersection, I looked over at other drivers, and I didn't know anything about them, but I just felt incredible love for everyone and everything. Anyway, I pulled through the intersection in Orem, Center Street and State Street. And as I pulled past it, guess who I saw walking down the sidewalk? It was the guy. Man. Yeah, the guy with the cross over his shoulder. And when I saw him, my initial instinct was like, I love that guy. He is doing everything he can to teach people about what he believes about Jesus. He's sacrificing his time, his comfort. He could be doing so many other things.
Yeah.
And I just felt this outpouring of love coming through my heart toward him.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mind jumps into the equation. It's like, wait, what?
That's that guy.
That's it. You can't love that guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what is going on? Why do I feel so much love right now? And as I kept driving, I was like, something's happened to me. I can't get myself to feel hard feelings toward that guy that I've so quickly and so often felt hard feelings toward. And I drove home that night just in a state of wonder, not just of how much love I was feeling, but what's up with me right now?
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to get out of this state again.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I be like this all the time?
Yeah.
And I think for a couple hours I was feeling that way, come home, feel that way to my family and everything, but life kicks in and my mind gets involved in life, and then that went away.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing was I would drive past the MTC and I would see that guy again and I would just feel love for him. Because of that experience, something fundamentally shifted toward him.
Yeah.
And there was like an imprint there. And after that experience, I was like, what is this? I didn't have words for it. I wouldn't have called it harmony back then. I didn't even know what to call it.
Yeah.
I would have called it feeling the love of God, feeling the Spirit. And I would have called it different things, but it was different than other types of experiences. And it would linger as long as I allowed, as long as my mind didn't come in and turn my attention to other things.
Yeah.
Which would always happen eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. With the feelings of, you said like your mind would get involved. Obviously, maybe you didn't feel the love for maybe the neon lights anymore. But that man, the love stayed for him. Like everything else maybe faded, but towards him it stayed.
Yeah.
Do you have
and it continues still. I can think of him
and you love him
right now. I just love that guy.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's not something that I had earned. It's not something that I did anything to get.
Yeah.
It's something that for whatever reason, it just felt like a grace that was given.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
So our question, what is harmony? Harmony is to be in a state of consciousness where you are okay with everything as it is. And not just okay, but you're able to love, feel oneness with things as they are. And for me, it's been a rare thing, especially earlier in my life. For me, it's also been the most precious experience of life.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm like, hey, if life could be that, how would life be any different than heaven?
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine heaven being any better than feeling this pure flow of love for all beings, all things. I guess what those experiences did for me is they gave me a taste of something in a temporary way that I wanted to learn how to experience in a more permanent way. And that's why we're having this conversation. That's why we have this podcast, is because there is a call to harmony. There's the call to harmony that I think is going out and has gone out since creation and is calling to every human being to come.
Yeah.
And to come to harmony, it sounds so simple, so easy, but it takes some work.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say some work, it takes serious work and commitment in order to be able to inhabit harmony more permanently. Now, I'm not going to claim I'm there, that I'm always in harmony. As I've had these experiences and talked to others and studied and dug into this, it's like, oh, this is a call that has been talked about since the beginning of time. This is Jesus saying, the kingdom of God is within you. He's saying, metanoia, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Metanoia, we've translated as repent, and there's all kinds of struggles we've had around that word, right? But he's saying metanoia. Meta means beyond. Noia is mind. Like, go beyond your mind to this place of harmony, because the kingdom of heaven, it's at hand. It's available right here, right now in this life. It's not something that we have to wait till the next life to experience. And so Jesus talks about this. Buddha talks about this. The guy that wrote the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu, talks about this. All these wisdom masters and people. This is a universal call that every religion points to, that every wisdom tradition points to, that all wise teachers are pointing to. But it's also so elusive to us as humans that it feels almost like a dream when it happens and something that slips through your fingers.
Yeah.
But there are patterns to it, and there are practices that can help us get there. And so wherever anybody's coming from that's listening to this, wherever you are in life right now, whatever the outer circumstances look like, you could be in a place where you're pretty settled and you're okay with things as they are, or you could be in a place of absolute crisis where things are falling apart. And the amazing promise of harmony is that harmony is within reach, no matter what our outside circumstances look like. Because the way to harmony is by going inside. It's not by winning the outside game, like a softball game. It's by turning to the inner game and doing those things that remove the barriers that keep us from inhabiting harmony consistently. And so that's what we want to talk about in this podcast. We want to point people toward harmony, because there's so many reasons why there's disharmony in the world, why there's dissonance. And we might use this music analogy. When you first start to play music, you start with melody, right? Or start to sing music, like singing at church. You go there and you learn the melody as a kid. You sing that first line, the simple line that everybody else seems to be singing around you. Okay, one more story. Should I tell one more story?
Let's tell more story.
Okay. This is more of an analogy, not necessarily a harmony experience, but when I was serving as a missionary in Brazil years ago, so I can play the piano, and my mission president sent me to a small town where they really, really wanted to have a choir. Now, they had a big choir come through and sing to them, and they were so inspired by it. It was multiple parts, tons of harmony. They filled the building that they were in with music and harmonies. And this little tiny church group that had maybe 25 people show up to church on Sunday, they wanted to sing like this choir of 80 to 100 people. And so my mission president was like, Elder Boyle, you go start a choir. Yeah, called me to be a choir director there. So I go to this small town, I bought a little keyboard, and this little group, this little church group is so excited to have me there, because I'm going to turn them into this
100%
choir. And they were so awesome. Oh, I love these people so much. But they came and they were like, Elder Boyle, thank you. It's going to be so amazing. They were so excited that they had gotten together and started to create choir uniforms, like sew blouses and skirts. And I say blouses and skirts because there was only one guy, I think, in the choir. None of the others were women. And they were like, oh, this is going to be so amazing. And I'd say, this will be so fun. And so we had our first choir practice. And I remember this. And I was like, okay, so they picked the same song that the choir had sung when they came through. And they're like, we want to learn this song. I was like, okay, let's try it. All right, raise your hand if you're a soprano. And everybody looks totally blank. What does that mean? If you sing the normal higher note, and I was trying to describe melody to them, and they hadn't heard these terms. And I was like, oh, okay, so who sings alto? That's like the second lower part, And then I started to play the different notes of the first chord of the song. Who sings this? Who sings this? And they were just giving me the blankest stares, so confused. And they were like, no, Elder Boyle, we just want to sing like that choir. We don't have to learn all of these terms. And
we just need to start.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. So let's just try singing. You guys, you sing this note, this part, and I played it through once, and it was just complete chaos, right? It's like, all right, let's try it in 2 parts. Yeah. So we went from 4 parts to 2 parts. just
Still can't.
just did not work at all.
Yeah.
And then we went to, okay, let's all sing the melody together. And then they could all follow the melody of the piano and sing together.
Mhm.
And little by little, the dream of them being this big choir, I didn't have the heart to say it to them, right? But I think it dawned on them. They're like, oh, there's more to music
Yeah.
than just desire,
Yeah.
the will.
Yeah.
There's actual practice and skills and development and work to get to that place. And they sang in church. A few weeks later, everybody sang in unison, right?
That's
And it
awesome.
was beautiful, and their hearts were just as pure as ever.
Yeah.
And on that level, it's the most beautiful thing ever, right? You don't need all the harmonies because you can feel the
Yeah.
fullness of their hearts. But at the same time, they stepped back from the music and their dream and everything like that, and changed their expectation.
Yeah.
And the choir just kind of dissipated. We just did little things once in a while. But I think that's a kind of analogy of what happens in life sometimes,
Yeah.
right? Is we taste the beauty of the harmony that can come after all this work, and then the reality of life hits, and it just feels like there are a lot of steps between where I am now
And harmony.
and harmony.
Yeah.
How can I ever get there? And while there may be some truth to that, there's also some untruth to that, because harmony is actually at hand.
Yeah.
It's within reach for all of us. You don't have to have arrived at perfection to experience harmony. In my stories, I wasn't anywhere near perfection, but for whatever reason, for whatever grace, I could experience it. And I imagine everybody that's listening could just take a moment to stop and think of a moment in your life when you tasted harmony, when everything was okay, just as it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it was in nature. Maybe it was an experience when you were connecting with other humans, friends, or family. Maybe it was a moment of stillness. I find that in every experience of harmony, stillness is a component of it. But it might be helpful to just stop and think, when have I tasted harmony? And just let that experience grow in you. Let that call that comes through that experience draw you to hunger and thirst for more.
Yeah.
We are meant for harmony. We are designed to seek it in the deepest part of ourselves. We are already really there in the deepest part of ourselves, but in our minds, we are caught up in the surface of life, in the outside game. And rarely do we get to that place of stillness where harmony can come up to the surface and envelop us all.
Yeah.
And make us feel whole.
Yeah.
But that's our goal. That's our topic of conversation. And that's what we'll be talking about moving forward. So in the next episode, we'll talk about this. Here's a simple way to think about approaching harmony. We start with melody, kind of like in that story I just told. We start by learning the melody, and it's vital that we learn that simple melody in life. And then there comes a time when we might start to hear some dissonance. That simple melody that worked for us so well, that sang to us and spoke to us, we start to hear and feel some dissonance in our life, that isn't encompassing everything that we're experiencing anymore. So we feel dissonance, and that can be super scary and terrifying. But the promise of dissonance is that it's potentially leading you toward harmony. And if we can learn to accept and embrace dissonance, we will be able to learn to inhabit and experience harmony. And so we'll talk about that in our next episode.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing your stories.
You bet. Thank you,
great.
Savannah.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for listening, and we hope you will join us next time on The Call to Harmony.